Our interview today at the Hospitality Property School is with Dan Roberge, founder and CEO of Maintenance Care, a platform that can simplify and organize your hospitality property's work orders with ease. Welcome to another edition of Hospitality Property School. I am your instructor, Jerry McPherson. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. And make sure to hit the little bell so you'll be informed when I upload a new video. You won't want to miss anything I designed especially for you. Dan Roberge, the founder and CEO of Maintenance Care. This is a maintenance management platform that streamlines work orders, sets up preventative maintenance scheduling, asset tracking, and capital planning. Dan has spent the last 20 years working with the hospitality industry, and we are thrilled that he has taken the time to share his expertise with us. All that being said, our interview today at Hospitality Property School is with Dan Roberge, founder and CEO of Maintenance Care, a maintenance management platform that streamlines work order management, preventative maintenance scheduling, asset tracking, and capital planning. Dan has spent the last 20 years working in the hospitality industry. And Dan, we are very happy to have you here today to share your expertise.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
All right, all that being said, are you ready to jump into this, Dan?
Let's do it.
Super. All right, can you tell me about Maintenance Care? What is it exactly your company does?
Yeah, well, we've been around for about 20 years, and we are a facility management software. So we manage any type of building, and our software does. And it really is to the managing of the maintenance teams themselves and how they keep the building running. And so, like you mentioned, some of the key features has to do with work order management. So those are daily things that come up. Where a light bulb is out, we need to communicate that to the maintenance team. Our software will help communicate that to the maintenance team. They can go and deal with that issue quickly. There's also the preventative maintenance side, which are a lot of times have to do with government compliance. Depending on the type of building it is, there's some regulations you have to keep up. And so those preventative maintenance can be put into our software and remind the team when they're done. They can track that they've done it and have the documentation to prove that they've done it if they need to report on that information. And then the last part has to do with asset management, which is really focused on saving the finances of the building, right? So how do you keep the equipment to last longer so that they don't have to replace it, and so that your ROI on the building and the running of the building is very good. So our software helps in those three key areas. And we've been managing, we've been helping facilities of any kind, but even in the hospitality industry a lot, because there's a need for all three of those things in that industry. And so it's a really relevant tool that everybody would use on a daily basis.
It's an interesting piece of software. Where did the idea come from?
Well, that's a funny story. We actually, in a previous life, we were working in an office environment, and a friend of mine plugged up a toilet. Well, he claimed somebody else did it, but and then we had to tell, we were trying to figure out how do we tell the maintenance person about this? Like, we need to get this fixed. So, the solution had to be to go and tell the receptionist at the front desk, that there was a problem. He was embarrassed to do that, but he went. He's like, somebody blocked up the toilet, and the solution for her, she said, well, go put a Post-it note on the maintenance person's office. And we were like, there's got to be a better way to deal with this. And this was back in 2002 when this situation was occurring. Oh, wow. So you got to imagine that there wasn't a lot of software out there. The communication wasn't the same. The internet had just come into the world like about 5 years before, and so we it was a new concept, and so we were like, let's build something that does this. And that's where the idea came from, and it grew from there. We learned from our customers. It became, yes, the core was a work order, let's tell the maintenance person what the problem is, but then it grew to those other aspects like the preventative maintenance and the asset management, and that was all feedback from our customers. And when our customers told us what they needed and what was important to them, we were able to build those tools as time went on. So
Oh, right. That totally makes sense. Okay, I
yeah.
see that you work with some major hotel chains throughout the world. Now,
Yes.
if I'm right, you're currently in Toronto, but you're a US
Yeah.
based company. Are you international?
So yes, we are. We're actually we have two offices. We're one office in Toronto, Canada, and one
Okay.
office in Davenport, Florida. And but we do sell, yes, everywhere. We have multi-language support in our software, and it's really easy. Everything is done remotely. Especially these days. We've gone into the world of Zoom, and so everybody can do things remotely. We've always done stuff that way. We've always trained remotely. We've always done really good customer support through web or through chat and email, so we can support anybody pretty easily and onboard them even without being on site. The old days we'd have to, and 20 years ago, people always thought you have to come on site, do a training, and maybe if you're somewhere around the world that you can't get to, that becomes an obstacle. But because now we are fully web-based operational, we can train people, and that's how we do 100% of our trainings is through the
Oh,
web.
excellent. Okay, like I said, I've seen that you work with some major chains. Most of the people that follow my company are smaller, more independent properties. Is your software suitable for them?
Absolutely. Actually, the core of our business is the individual business owner.
Oh,
We do have a lot of chains, obviously. I mean, that is definitely, we're a scalable tool. So because we're unlimited users, that's how our pricing model is, unlimited users. It actually is, it's beneficial for an individual location to use our software because they get a fixed price based on, it doesn't matter how many people they bring in as far as helping and using the software, they get a fixed price so they can budget for it accordingly. And it's very inexpensive in the first place, but they can budget for it. And then we like to deal our business model. When we first started, our target audience was the individual business owner. We thought it was a more stable market for us. So instead of going after the big customers who, yeah, they bring in some bigger dollars, but then if they leave, they also cost you quite a bit, right? And so your business doesn't become as stable. So for us on a business strategy, we thought, let's get a lot of individual places, and then we become more of a stable company, and that's what we did. And so we do have a lot of individual business owners, mom and pop shops, and in different industries, but in hospitality as well. And actually, I find that the marketplace is dominated, even though there are chains, the marketplace is dominated by an individual business owners
absolutely. Yeah.
from our perspective. So yeah.
No, absolutely. Okay, I would love to say that neither of us have competition, but we do.
Yes.
And I was doing a little snooping, and I noticed that your competitors and you have different key factors that people could utilize. What would be the key factors if I were an independent property owner I should look for in your type of software?
Yeah, I love that question because I think that when these days, everybody can do whatever they want with software. Like I don't think there's any software out there that doesn't have a button you can press that'll make it do this or that, right? So I always like to talk about, well, okay, if it's not the actual feature itself, because everybody can build those, what is it that makes the company different from this software to this other? So one of the aspects definitely is the workflow within the software. So it's like, how does it handle the day-to-day operations? So maybe one software you have to click on this screen, and then on the other software you're on this screen instead, whatever it is. So that could be a factor. But ultimately, outside of the software and the features themselves, which I think like I said, we're pretty much for the most part, everybody's competing with the same features. The bigger differentiator for us has to do with support and how the business is built. So we pride ourselves in support. And I think whenever somebody's buying software, they should look at the company they're buying from. They should look at what's the makeup of the company. Are they owned by all these like VC investors and so on? We're seeing all these big tech companies right now suffering because of these bank collapses and things like that. And so is this like a big invested company that they just go after the bottom line and they're going to raise my prices and they don't care about my support? Or is this like in our case, is it owned and operated by the same owners who created the business 20 years ago without outside investment, not being a public company. So we are focused on our customers. Everything we do has to do with helping our customers. It's not about fulfilling some balance sheet for an investor. And so that has to me, that's a big differentiator, because you're going to get that service, you're going to get that individual attention, and then that spreads out to everything that the company does after that, right? Like whether new features they build, the way they support, the way that they deal with maybe potential negative situations that come up where a customer might get upset, we will deal with that more personally than a company that's got a different type of investment strategy. So it's been a strength of ours. I think it's been a struggle to get to that point. Obviously, we have to finance our own growth, but we've been able to finance our growth through new business, right? Through actually growing. So not kind of inflated models just because of investments. So now we're able to get the benefits of that and transfer those benefits to our customers.
Oh, very nice. What are some key problems you see hospitality properties have when it comes to maintenance?
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of reoccurs often in my experience has been that there's a lack of communication between, let's say, the guest and the maintenance team. So often, that communication goes, obviously, a guest is there, they're going to be calling the front desk. There's a problem with my sink or whatever it is, my shower, and then it kind of stops from there. There's nothing, the guest doesn't have that ability to understand what's happening next. When are they coming? Maybe the maintenance person's doing something else right now, so they'll be there at 6, and we're not going to have that communication. So I think the guest experience has been a little bit on the communication level maybe suffering, and a lot of that can be helped with a software like ours, for example, because we have that ability to communicate back to that person, whether it's through even a text message or an email. Like once the guest can call down to the front desk, let's say, and say, I've got a tub or whatever issue, we can automate an email back to that guest saying, well, that person is going to be here at this time. And so now they're getting it on their personal device. They're like, okay, I know what's going on with this. And then when it's closed, they can get like, oh, maybe you were out somewhere. And when you come back to your room, they're like, they were in the room and they've dealt with that issue. So that closing the loop on the communication, I find that's personally, when I go to a hotel or any place, I like that. And I think that's been something that's been lacking. And it's also something that's cost prohibitive typically for a small operator, because you think, oh, I got to get a big system in place if I'm going to have that communication with the guest and so on. Whereas maintenance care can handle that pretty seamlessly, and it doesn't cost you this big amount. You're needing the tool anyways for the maintenance team, so now utilize the extras to communicate with the people that are on site there. So that's been one of the things I've seen. And then the other part of it has to do with when you're managing your building equipment. I think that's been a big one. You're dealing with these large boilers and water tanks. I mean, you have to keep your guests' hot water warm and all the time ready to go. And so downtime is a big issue. If you have downtime on your equipment, then you could go out all night, like somebody can't use hot water for the entire night. Your entire suites are not able to provide that service. So, having a plan to prevent those failures and having regular preventative maintenance on them, having downtimes that you schedule where you have backups, all of that our software can help handle. And I think that's been again, the smaller hotels and resorts and so on, they often have that obstacle where they think that they need a big system to help them through that, like a building automation system and so on. But you don't. You can use something like maintenance care to help you plan those things, and it'll give you all the information you need. So that, again, I'm providing the solution, I think, to something that is usually seen as a big obstacle.
So your software is actually cost effective, or it can be cost effective.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, the return on investment is a no brainer, like for us, like we could say, okay, maybe you might not think we're the best solution for you. That's a possibility. And, that's up to you to determine what works best for you. But to have a software in place like this, I think you kind of need it. And I think if you look at the finances of it, it really is something that you should evaluate kind of by its merits, which is, for us, there's three key areas of return on investment. The first one being you're dealing with issues faster. So therefore, you're going to have less potential. Like, let's say there's water on the ground and somebody notices it, they can send a notification to the maintenance team who can deal with it faster instead of somebody coming along and slipping on it and falling. So you have less liability, you have quicker, less damages. Maybe the water is leaking through the ceiling and to the next level. So you're going to get to those issues faster, turn off the water, things like that. So you'll have less repair because of the damages that could be limited. And so, you've got liability, you've got speed of which you're going to be doing things, and just like the safety of people. And then obviously the last one, which everybody knows, is preventative maintenance. Preventative maintenance, you don't do an oil change on a car, it will break down. And so if you don't do that with your equipment in your building, the same thing will happen. And so that's an easy one, obviously, that just proves itself time and time again.
So does your software integrate with hotel platforms?
So we actually have over 5,000 integrations.
Oh,
Plus
wow.
we have an open API. So you can do things like you can integrate with any tools, really. I mean, you can, if you want to tweet about a maintenance task that you just completed, you could automate that process. So I mean, it's that flexible. But ultimately, some of the more useful ones are things like integrations with finance platforms. So if you want to track expenses and feed that into a finance tool, you can do that from maintenance care to a finance tool. Another way is the front desk team can be notified and have an interface that deals with their room availabilities. Like I said, if a guest has an issue and you need to close down a room, you can keep up on those service requests to make sure, okay, well, now that room's available because we fixed those issues if maybe the room is not occupied at the time. So any of those integrations, whether finance tools or scheduling tools, or has to do with repair of the rooms, you can absolutely integrate. We also have some fun integrations. We have integrations with things like Amazon Alexa. So if you want to ask for a maintenance request, you can talk to Alexa. We have 3D VR integration. So you can actually do a 3D walkthrough of your entire building and map all the assets in your building. So that's like a little bit of a fun add-on, but it gives you that flexibility. If you'd like to do that, you can actually visualize your building in 3D with our software.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm somebody who follows my interviews, my videos, and I own a small hotel, maybe 20 rooms. And now I think maybe I do need maintenance care. So I contact your company. Walk me through the procedure. How would it work?
Yeah. So that's the other thing that we like, I think our customers like about us, is that we are very easy to do business with. So we're not hard sellers, and we're not going to get you into a situation that you're going to be stuck in, and we're going to be like pushing our software on you, because we have no long-term contracts, which means you can cancel anytime. Okay, so within 30-day notice you can cancel. So it's no use for us to force you into a software that's not going to work. We're going to both waste our time, and then you're going to cancel anyway. So what we focus on first is evaluating your situation and whether it's a good fit. And so we do a 15-minute consultation that we just talk through, and we'll just say, what is your current situation? What are you looking to do? Here's what we do. Are you interested in seeing the software, and do a demo of the software? And then if you think it's a fit, then we book that demo. We do a 45-minute presentation of the software itself. And then you make a decision if you want to move forward. That's basically it. And so we don't do anything that we're not calling you every day, and you make a decision, can we and all this stuff. Like, we're very easy to do business with that way. And now the other side of things too is the implementation is quite extensive. So we'll spend time to make sure that we onboard your team properly. that we train them. So you'll do multiple training sessions with our trainers, and we'll make sure that obviously customer support is included ongoing, so you can call our team. But the trainer that is dedicated to your account will make sure you're using the software well, because it's to our benefit that you are, because there's no long-term contracts. So you always have all the power, right? And so we want to make sure it's useful for you.
Wow. So what is your pricing like?
Yeah, we have 3 plans, and so we have a free version. So if you're not sure and you just want to try the free version, go ahead. It's free forever. It's not just a trial. And now it is very limited in the features.
Oh, sure.
So just know that it's not everything that the software does. But what you get is you get the ability to create work orders. You get the ability to use our app in a very limited way, but you get to manage work orders, and it's for a single user and just kind of managing daily work orders, and that's it. And not all the features around the work orders, but at least you get the idea of how the software works. So that's the free version. We do have a work order edition, which is just for work orders, but all the features related to work orders. So you get to prioritize tasks, you get to assign them to other team members and things like that. And then there is the enterprise edition, which is the one that 95% of our customers are on. It's the main all-inclusive package. We don't have other modules. It's everything's included. And our regular price is on our website. We don't hide our prices. So it's unlimited users. Our regular price as of right now is $250 a month. If you pay yearly, it's $200 a month. That's it. So it's like the equivalency of $200 a month. So you're getting a huge value. We think the return on investment for that is about $50,000 to $55,000 a year for a $2,000 package, right? Like
Nice.
that's huge return on that investment, right? So
Okay, yeah, I went and looked through your website, and I noticed that you have a new software coming out. Is it
yeah,
Air Clean?
that's correct. Yes,
What is
we
that?
so that was a kind of a born out of our own customers' requests. What was happening there is that a lot of our customers in the hospitality industry were asking us, can we use maintenance care for the housekeeping team? And we were kind of trying to accommodate it and say, yeah, let's try this. Let's make this little change in maintenance care. But it got to a point where we were going to have to change maintenance care to be something different. And so we decided, let's just kind of copy the software over, but really change a lot of stuff that is specific to housekeeping. And we did that about 2 years ago, and we launched it a year and a half ago, I guess, maybe 2 years, yeah. And so we are now scheduling housekeeping staff. So you can put your full schedule of your housekeeping
Oh,
staff
wow.
inside of Care Clean. You can do audits. So if once a room is clean, you can send a notification to a person who goes and audits the room and checks all the boxes. You can notify the front desk staff that the room is available now for after it's been cleaned. So you can integrate that with your POS system or what you're using. So you can actually utilize Care Clean like you're using maintenance care for your maintenance team. You're now using Care Clean for the housekeeping team. The housekeepers, when they show up on site, they can scan a QR code in the room. That starts the cleaning clock. They then clean the room. When they leave, it stops the clock and it tells you how long they've spent in each room. If you want to get to that level of detail, you can track that in Care Clean. So it's really easy tool to use, and it's bundled. You can buy it as a bundled with maintenance care, and you get a discounted price for buying both. And so it's really pertinent to this industry.
That's excellent. Oh, I can see a lot of value in that. I checked out your YouTube channel at Maintenance Care. If
Yes.
anybody has any questions, check it out. It is really well done. There was a lot of information in there, and I've been in this industry a long time, and there was a lot of stuff in there I didn't know. So I highly
Oh, that's
recommend.
good.
Hey, I highly recommend people check it out. All right, we've covered quite a bit. Is there anything that our followers might be interested that we didn't talk about?
Well, I think just, we're very excited about talking to as many people as possible. And I think that shows through to every of our employees who deal with our customers. And I think, give us a chance, come visit us and talk to us. And I think you're going to find exactly what I'm saying here is translated to your experience of what you're going to find with maintenance care. So I think that I would just leave with that. I think it's just, we want to talk to as many people as possible about our software.
That's excellent. I've really enjoyed this. It's been great, and and you've given us a ton to think about. So, Dan, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us and share your expertise.
Thank you very much. It's been great talking to you.
Okay, where can people find out about maintenance care? Where can they go
Well,
and maybe follow you?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the best thing to follow is the maintenance care website, www.maintenancecare.com. And like you said, our YouTube channel, you can search maintenance care on YouTube. It's / maintenance care. And, but everywhere, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn under Dan Roberge. And you can find us through the maintenance care page there. We're on Facebook, everywhere. Always the same name, maintenance care everywhere.
Super. Thanks a lot, Dan. This has been excellent.
Awesome. Have a great one.
Yeah, you too. That was Dan Roberge, founder and CEO of Maintenance Care, and I really appreciate him taking the time to chat. I would encourage you to check out the Maintenance Care website at www.maintenancecare.com. You can also check them out on YouTube at youtube.com/@maintenancecare and on Facebook at facebook.com/maintenancecare. Are you going to be taking advantage of the Maintenance Care Free Edition? Let me know in the comments. We cover more about your facility in the Guide to Owning and Operating a Hospitality Property Successfully course. You can find more information at keystonehpd.com/course. Okay, you're going to have access to this episode for as long as you would like. But if you'd like to see all the bonuses you would have access to as a member of the Hospitality Property School group, check out the short video in this episode post show notes. That's it for today's episode. Until next time, have a fun day. If you have not done so yet, make sure you sign up for Insider Tips, say hi on social and join one of our groups, and make sure you get your free copy of the How to Improve Your Hospitality Property Success. All of the links can be found in the show notes.